Hello, hello. We are back with another episode of the Liftoff series. I am Taylor Shanklin, your host, and I'm really excited to have Chelsea Craig on today. Hello, Chelsea. How are you?
Hello, Taylor. Very excited to be here today.
It's good to see you. We meet again.
Yes.
So today I want to talk about our topic of reviews. How to use reviews to grow your business and get some insight from you on things that you even had to do within this crazy COVID world to continue growing your own business and helping your clients and customers grow their business even through the after times, right? It's not the before times, it's the after times.
Yes, whatever we've made it. Are we in the new normal? Like, is it here?
Yeah, I'm just calling it the after times now because it's very dramatic, and in my head, like Star Wars like music plays every time I say
like, extraterrestrial.
Yeah, at one point I might eventually do some movie credits, the after times, We'll
yes, have the words scrolling up the screen. I love it.
You never know. You never know what could happen. All right. Well, let's get right into it. So tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, what Rhino Reviews is, your company.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. My name is Chelsea Craig. Obviously, CC. I love alliteration. So I named my business Rhino Reviews, and we got an RR. What we do is we work with businesses to help protect them and their online reputation overall. We work both customer facing. So everyone typically, when you hear online reviews, goes Google My Business, Yelp, maybe Facebook. And then we also work from the employer branding side. So Indeed, Glassdoor, LinkedIn, just like the reputation overall. Our unique advantage is there are a lot of tools out there that you can manage your reviews through, a lot of pieces of software to help you kind of stay updated. But what we found is businesses don't want another piece of software to run. They just want it handled and done. So we are exclusive managed service where we not only provide you the tools, we actually provide you the person, an account manager to work on your business as if they were an employee of your business themselves to protect you in the digital space 24/7 so that you can focus on growing your business offline, knowing that everything that's being presented online is in the best of light, which has been very interesting in this COVID world. Online presence always mattered the past couple of years, and it was really gaining traction. But one of the biggest kind of pieces that we heard from a lot of prospects prior to COVID in 2020 was always, I've been in business for 20 years. Why do I need to be online? I'm fine. And really 2020 kind of shook that all to the core. It showed, to be successful and to continue communicating and getting found by customers, you need an online presence, and customers' voices online matter. So working this past year essentially has just been a really interesting kind of whirlwind, navigating all the changes.
Yeah. So, and I was still astounded. It's funny. I've been in the digital online world so long that when people started saying like, "Oh, I have to get online," last year I was like, "You haven't been," but
it's so true.
But it's really true. A lot of businesses weren't, and so you do strictly online reviews for B2B, is that correct? Just to clarify.
Yeah, that's a great question. So normally, and I appreciate you asking that because it is a unique thing. So normally when people think reviews, they typically think B2C because they think, again, Google, Yelp, restaurants are pretty much, restaurants, dentists, doctors. But about 60% of our clients are actually in that B2B space because what we found and what these businesses understand is they're in front of the curve. We're obviously working with businesses that they need to be online and that believe that there's an advantage there. And what they've shown is that, suppliers or, everyone in businesses, we all shop the same way. Whether I am a operations manager and I need a new vendor for X, Y, and Z, or I'm a mom trying to buy something on Amazon, we're, taking in reviews, we're taking in other people's opinion, we're turning to Google for overall searches, we're wanting to know what the service is like, what's the deliverability, what is the actual product going to be. So I personally love working with the companies in the B2B space because again, it's typically those forward thinking businesses that realize this is an opportunity.
Yeah. Well, I really B2C, B2B, like, I don't know. In my mind, I've thrown those out the window. It's people to people. It's human to human. Like, whatever you want to call it. Like you said, I don't know about you, Chelsea, but I I saw someone recently, I think, post on LinkedIn about Instagram. Should I advertise on Instagram for my business?
It's a good question.
And like for a B2B, and I'm seeing more B2B type of ads on platforms like that. I think where people traditionally think that B2C, and so that could even be a platform where if you're thinking about how do I position positive reviews that we've had in a platform like Instagram, because Chelsea, yeah, you run a company, but you're also a mom, maybe a lover of shoes. I don't know, like
I
different,
really love the shoes.
right? And so, yeah, we have to think about like, well, where are people today? Whether
Mhm.
they're in their business head or their personal head, they're on these same places, and
Mhm.
they want to be, I think, spoken to in a real authentic way. And I think that that's what reviews and reputation management does. Really, what you're doing is like helping people kind of just make sure that their truth and their transparency is out there.
Absolutely. And I mean,
Chelsea.
what you just said, like yes, we're employees or we're business owners. Oh, did I lose you? Are
Yeah,
we
it's
good?
cutting up a little bit. Yeah, we're blipping. We're blipping. I think we're back. Am I back to you now? Are you
We
back?
got,
We're having an
you
internet
are back
issue.
to me. You did blurb out a little bit, but I think
Okay, you too.
is it any
We'll
better?
try our best.
Feel like
It's a little bit. It's in and out. This is the nature of a live show. Sometimes it just doesn't go our
we're
way.
commercial. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Ooh,
Yeah,
is it better?
yeah.
Yay!
Can you hear
Perfect. We're
me?
fixed.
Okay, that's what I was saying.
I
Sometimes it's the
can, and you're.
nature of a live show. We're at the.
It is. It is. You just got to roll with it. It's the world we're
Yep.
living in. All we need is like a dog to run by. Well, we've got the dog in the background, but the noise of the
Yeah.
working from home. Um, but yeah, I mean, what you said is so true. And yes, we are. We all have jobs, we all have something, but we're also people, and we're shopping or we're always searching for. I mean, everything's just so integrated now.
Hmm.
So advertising on Instagram, I mean, I get asked a lot about like TikTok or Twitter, even Snapchat, all of those channels, because you want to reach your customers where they are spending your time. So
Hmm.
Facebook is a huge B2B platform from an advertising standpoint, from a sponsorship standpoint. And that's where a lot of our clients that we do work with their reviews,
Hmm.
we typically recommend Facebook as the number 2 platform after Google. And yeah, you're right. No one's sitting going, I need more water bottles. Let me go to this
Yeah.
company's Facebook page and look at their water bottles. But Facebook's a strong backlink. So when someone's searching, it's typically in your top 5 search results, and those stars do appear underneath your name. So it's just a situation where a customer could potentially see your business, see the stars, and correlate the two. But a lot of businesses run really
Yeah.
successful ads on it as well. And if they click that ad and go to your profile, you want those stars there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't agree more with the kind of mixing of channels. Everything's so integrated and so mixed that it's no longer this separate kind of world that we're living in.
Yeah. Well, and I want to get into some tactics that you have on how to build out a good review program. But yeah, exactly. Just to tie that up with the bow, I mean, like, I'm a total sucker for marketing. Even though I am a marketer, it totally
Mhm.
works on me too. But I can't tell you how many different things that I've actually started using and found very helpful for my business because I saw an Instagram ad and then I saw it again and then I looked at their profile and then I saw it again and I was like, I'm going to try this thing, right? Like software platforms that I'm
Mhm.
using now for my business that are really good that I would not have otherwise known about. And a lot of them do approach you with that like testimonial, like that sort of a thing. So let's get into how to run a successful review campaign. Like, where do you
Ooh.
start? What do you do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is going to sound a little backwards. The first thing, that if you want a 5-star reputation or you want that 5-star review, deliver the 5-star service and experience for your customer. It
Mm-hmm.
sounds so silly, but a lot of the times when we start with businesses, most businesses that are reaching out to us are doing it out of an area of concern. So we're asking, hey, the most recent 5 reviews mentioned this. What have you done to fix that problem? Because we can't put a band-aid on a leaky bucket. If you don't deserve, if you're serving something terrible, unfortunately, we can't help that. But for all those great businesses out there. The thing that we encourage everyone to do the most is a lot of business owners think if I deliver this great experience or if I give incredible service, this person's just going to leave me a review. And unfortunately, while we wish that was all true, I mean, put yourself in the customer's shoes. Think about the last time you went to a restaurant and had an incredible meal, or to a store, bought something, and the woman or man behind the desk was just out of this world kind. You probably didn't open your phone and write them a review. It's not that you didn't have an experience. You just didn't think about it because you have a million other things on your plate.
Yeah.
So the first thing we do with businesses is you have to find a way to ask your customers for a review, but do it in a way that you make it easy for them. We're all busier than ever, despite being, home or having, not driving into the offices anymore. But find a way to ask them for a review, but make it easy for them. Have them get a text message, have them get an email, something like that with a link right to your page. So all they have to do is click and write their review. Anytime there's friction, if they have to look you up, if they have to find your profile, heck, if they even have to scroll and hit write a review, you're going to see about a 50 to 60% drop off. So the easiest, make it as easy as possible for them. Kind of the same rule goes for yourself as a business owner. You might think at the beginning when you're starting your business and maybe you don't have a huge book of business yet, no problem. I can manually send out these emails, or I can manually text my clients after I'm done visiting them and send them these links. That's not sustainable. That's not realistic. Just as your customers are busy and you're trying to make it as easy as possible for them, make it as easy as possible for yourself. Get some type of automated campaign set up. Have them, when they get your invoice, have it trigger that way. Or if you have a CRM, after delivery, 1 week later, have it push out an email, something like that, where it's just triggered and you're not having to think about it. And then when that post review comes, again, it's really important. And probably the most important step that we stress for our clients is responding to those reviews. Everyone knows if I get a negative one, I need to go in and respond to it. But if you get a positive one, it is just as important too, because that's your public cheerleader. That's your brand champion who said something so great about you. Put that response out there.
Yeah.
And then the fourth and final step, as you just mentioned, put that review to work. Create a social graphic. Put it on your Facebook, put it on your Instagram, use it in the email campaign, stream it to your website, but use it as influence. Put it anywhere and everywhere, because it does matter.
Yeah, it does. Because I think people sniff out the BS more, right? And so seeing reviews helps to say, like, I don't know, I often go and I just see, how are the reviews? Like, that's literally the thing that I care about when I'm buying a piece of software or a can opener on Amazon. Like, doesn't really matter what it is.
Yeah.
The reviews matter. And so there are a lot of review sites out there, and I've used some before, and I'd like to ask you about a couple of tactical things. There are a lot of review sites where it's like, okay, just sign up for a review site, and then you do all the work. It sounds like you actually have managed services, because it is a lot of work. So if you're, let's say, a marketing manager trying to get a review program going on, like, there's a lot of work. What are some of those other things that you have to consider that maybe you and your team do to say, well, we'll just take that?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, because it is a lot more than just the reviews. It's so with every platform that you can get reviews on is an entire profile that you need to build out, you need to manage, you need to maintain. They also, a lot of the profiles give you the opportunity or the ability to like update it and make it literally a profile. So Google, for example, we're obviously working with the reviews, and that's our number one kind of piece there, but we do a full Google My Business management from a listing standpoint, because the point of reviews is to help drive influence, to help drive SEO results, and get people ultimately to, move forward with your business. So it makes sense. We want your profile to be as optimized as possible, as built out as possible, because that's only going to help it even more. So as business owners, what do we do for our clients in that situation? Make sure you're updating your photos monthly, Google My Business posts weekly, build out your products, your services. And it's kind of the same thing mirrored across all platforms. Yelp, building out those profiles, claiming them, BBB. So there's actually over 125 different review platforms that we work on. Obviously not 125 for every industry. There's industry specific ones, for example, ZocDoc or Avo if you're a lawyer. But claiming those platforms, building them out, making sure that things are updated, making sure that the information is correct and it's not a phone number from 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And then a lot of businesses, they're not watching those secondary platforms. So if something's there, they're just not aware of it because maybe Yellow Pages isn't that important. But if someone still types something, you want to be aware. And then the big thing also, as we're talking about the importance of these social platforms, is monitoring the comments, monitoring the engagement across those platforms. If you do run Facebook ads, if the targeting really isn't dialed in, they can kind of go awry and people become very opinionated on those platforms. So you want to make sure, yes, exactly. I mean, I'm pretty sure anyone that's run Facebook ads has experience with some candid feedback, I'll call it, colorful feedback, I should say.
Sometimes you don't expect certain things. You're like, really? Okay.
It never ceases to amaze me, I guess. Every time I think that's the comment, that's got to be the top one. Someone takes that challenge.
Yes.
But so we watch that as well. So that's where we tie in that full reputation piece through Google tags, as well as just getting access to ownership on those platforms. We're watching the entire conversation that's being had about that brand online. We've dealt with, viral videos on Reddit, issues on Twitter, being trolled on Facebook and other platforms. So kind of really just taking that off of the business's hands because a lot of businesses, again, either they're not monitoring it and they're just not even aware, or they are monitoring it and it can become really overwhelming if you're not experienced in dealing with it. So being able to, let them know, hey, this is being not only watched, but we're proactively taking care of it for you.
Yeah. And that's why you call it reputation management. It's almost like reviews and PR a little bit when you really think about it, these days. And like you said, there's like just monitoring comments and things like that, you have to keep your eye on. Because you just sometimes never know, like, what's going to come up as a comment and,
you really don't.
How to respond to that, how to, I think that is a big challenge for people often, is not knowing how to respond to comments that are either negative or off the wall and have nothing to do with the ad. Like I've seen that happen before, back to your point about Facebook ads, where there's something that just has nothing to do with the ad, but there's some random comment, maybe from a bot, who knows, and you have to, like, how do you manage that? So there's 125 platforms, you said. What are the top 5-ish? Ish, that, like, okay, you really got to look at your profile, and like, if you got to focus on some platforms around the context of reviews, like, you got to at least do these ones.
Yeah, it's a great question. So what we typically tell clients, so when we're working with them to build out their campaigns and set up those review generation pieces, we have found that you want to give customers the option. You never want to pigeon them in and say, hey, would you leave us a review, and only provide them one platform to leave it on, because people like choices. They also, as we've mentioned, people are not, we don't find things through one channel. You maybe find it through a search, you then go to Google, then you go to Facebook, and then you end up purchasing it through the Instagram ad. Same thing with their reviews. They want to leave the review on the platform that to them is the one that mattered. So what we typically say is, give them the option of 3. We found that if you give them over 3 options, there's actually a drop off. I think people just get overwhelmed. But you want to include 3 platforms in there. Google is universal. It's the king. It's literally a verb. Google it. So obviously that's the first and foremost, most important one. The second one is we typically do say Facebook. Again, for all those reasons listed. Obviously not every industry it doesn't work, but for the majority of them, we typically say Facebook as your second one. And then the third one, we typically suggest choosing an industry specific platform. So again, if you are a lawyer, I would say Avvo. If you're a restaurant, OpenTable, Yelp, something like that. If you're in the medical space, maybe ZocDoc, but choose that industry specific platform. If you don't have an industry specific one that's really relevant to you, choose just a general business directory. And that's where we would maybe push the business to the BBB if that profile is important and relevant to them. And we work through kind of where's your competition? How are customers finding you right now? Do you ask them that? Because that can be really eye-opening. And the competitive piece is one we look at a lot too. We always ask our clients, who are your 3 biggest competitors? And then we're doing a search on them, because if your competitor is doubled down on some platform, there's probably a reason, and we need to build you out there too.
Okay. So, do you have favorite tools that you like to use that make it easier to monitor things? Like, are you doing social listening on reviews or what?
On how we're monitoring them. Yeah. So we do have a software that we use to both create the campaigns, and so we when we onboard a client, we're creating branded campaigns for them that work through email and text message to solicit and ask for reviews. We integrate it into their profiles, so that, again, making it as easy as possible. When that customer clicks Google or Facebook, the next screen they see is that Google text box. They're not having to search or anything. It's there. It's easy for them to just type and go. With that kind of the after review, because we are integrated into those platforms, we get immediate notifications within seconds of any review posted on any of the platforms that we're watching. So that's where even though we're only going to push for 3 reviews or 3 different platforms to ask for reviews, we'll link up to every platform that they have. So maybe 12 or 15 platforms, Yahoo, even like Yahoo, Bing, like all of those strange, weird ones. You just want to watch, because if something's ever posted there, you want to know. And then, so that's the review monitoring piece. And then just the overall like comment monitoring that we talked about, for certain platforms, such as like Facebook, we get added as an admin. So we're made aware in that situation of anything posted, but then we also do Google tagging. So in case they appear on Medium or Reddit or Reddit's never good. No one ever says anything good on Reddit. Get that alert.
I can't keep up with that one. I'm about as bad at that one as I am on Twitter.
It's like, I think it's the same people. I'm pretty sure it's the same people.
It could be.
And
it's like a similar makeup.
It absolutely is. They like say, what is it, like the 150 character count on Twitter, and then they turn to Reddit so they can really get in there because there's no character limit or something. I don't know, but it's vicious. So we're monitoring that just through Google tracking. So you get emails from Google letting you know anytime certain keywords that you're monitoring get mentioned.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and I think that's the value of like having this as a service, quite frankly, because like all of these things you listed, like it can make anyone's head explode. I'm now like, oh, I don't even I should probably go Google my business. I don't know.
I always recommend it. Be a little
what's going on there.
It's good to know. Hopefully sometimes, the biggest thing we tell our clients at the beginning is like, everyone's so petrified because all we do is we fear the negative. Also, as the business owner, you're taught to always think about worst case scenarios. So a lot of the times we find they're like petrified to do anything because all they think is like what could go wrong. It's never as bad as you think it is. Ask your customers for reviews. When I ask businesses that, I said, why don't you? And they said, well, what if we get a bad one? What if something bad comes? It's going to happen. So you might as well have good ones built up to protect you. But you also wouldn't be in business if you only had customers that hated you. Like you're in business because people like you. So
there's at least someone who likes you. Yeah.
I hope. So it's never as bad. And I mean that with the Googling thing. A lot of the times, one of my favorite things is like we'll get Google alerts from the tracking, and it's us sharing with the client, hey, we just got this alert because a blog was put up about you that they weren't even aware of. And it's like, this blog from someone that said something great. So it's not always only negative.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I've heard that before too, when I've been in other, places before and recommended like, hey, let's start a review program. That exact same thing I've heard. Well, no, because then if we have negative reviews, it's going to show up. And what can we delete? And people have thought this. Can we delete the negative reviews? No, that is not the point.
Unfortunately, you can't do that.
The point is transparency. And going back to what you said at the very beginning, the point is first to provide good service so that people don't trash you anyways, because they don't have a reason to trash you in a review, right? So like, build a good product, give good customer service, and the good reviews will come in. And you are never going to make everyone happy. There's always going to be people who you can't make happy. You win some, you lose some. But the point in, honestly, from a credibility perspective, having some negative reviews shows to me, oh, this is real. They didn't make up the reviews.
Yeah,
Because you could also think like, well, maybe they just hired a bunch of freelancers to go write reviews, right? If they're all positive, that
absolutely.
actually sends my spidey senses off
Mhm.
if there's like not a single negative review.
Yeah, no, you're dead on. Google did a study, and I can't remember the exact amount. And obviously, there are businesses out there because I've put up posts about this before, and someone says, I have 55-star reviews and they're real. But Google did a study,
Yeah.
and it was either 30 or 35. But if you have only 5-star reviews and either 30 or 35 like total, customers actually look at it and think exactly what you just said. These are fake, these
Yeah.
are bought, these are their employees. Because we're
Yep.
smart. Like we know, especially nowadays, like someone's going to say something.
Yeah.
So it really shouldn't be feared as long as, you manage it. It can add credibility to the 5 stars you do have. And then it's an opportunity to show that you listen to your customers, go in, respond to it. If there's something to improve and it's, actual feedback, not someone just being a jerk, that can be great feedback to help your business grow or help you improve.
Yeah. Now, is there a magic number, like a 4 point, like I want a 4.7
Yeah.
or something? Like it's not
That's
quite
nice.
5,
Mhm.
but
Great question.
4.8, what are we aiming for?
So I was going to say probably, just given everything, I would never even the no-go is dropping below a 4. So a
Okay.
lot of platforms actually have filters automatically started. So unless the customer goes in and undoes them, it won't show businesses that are less than a 4.0 because the platform itself obviously wants to provide helpful information to customers so that the customers come back and keep using the platform. So some platforms have automatic filters where if you're less than a 4.0, you're not appearing. So you never want to drop below a 4. I would say between 4.5 and 4.8. And there's a couple like interesting studies that Yelp did about revenue from businesses that at kind of 0.5 rating increments. And I believe the 4.0 to 4.5 was the highest rating, higher than the 4.5 to 5 stars. But that every time I put that study up, and I can share it to link after this show, every time I put the study up, typically we get a lot of like, well, I have this, I have that. So I would say 4.5 to 4.8 is the most ideal.
Okay, that's good to know. By the way, shout out to Alon. Alon is on the line today. Thanks for tuning in, Alon. He's liking the information. I have one more question for you.
Of course.
All right. Giving away gift cards for a review.
Yeah.
Yes or no?
No.
No. Okay. That's kind of what I thought. Yeah.
So
is it scammy?
There is a gray opportunity.
Yeah.
So obviously it violates policy on every single platform to incentivize for a 5-star review. Yep. And the reason, the wording I just said is what's really important for a 5-star review. You can thank people for their time to leave you a review or just for their review. So if you are truly offering this gift card or this coupon or this incentive to anyone that leaves you a review, that's fine. But that means if someone goes in and leaves you a 1-star review, you need to honor that. It can't be, hey, for a 5-star this, we'll give you that. Because then it's not open to, the platforms are essentially, you have to provide the same experience for every single customer because then it truly is a neutral, rating. But I'm not going to be naive and say that no one offers incentives because it's definitely out there. It definitely happens, but it's just not worth it.
Okay, good. I wanted your perspective on that because I've seen that before, and I've just always kind of thought like, is this? And I've always kind of questioned like, could you actually get into hot water for doing that in any ways? And it sounds like yes, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's better to really just provide customer service that's good, and then ask for a review and allow people to review, make it easy. And allow them to leave a negative review if that just happens to be the case. That's life.
It is.
It's life. Deal with it.
Do better next time.
Yeah, exactly. Do better next time. Yeah, exactly. No kidding. Okay, so Chelsea, I know we've been rolling for a little while. We didn't really get into COVID, but any like one kind of final tip you would leave us with that you learned maybe as a part of growing an online review business in, the after times?
Ooh, I would say it's, I mean, kind of what we talked about from the steps, like asking your customers for a review, but just asking for feedback in general. I think one of the greatest things I've heard from a business owner when I was talking to him about his strategy was his goal is to never have a negative review be a surprise. And he wasn't ignorant
Mm-hmm.
to the fact that, like, hey, I know I will get negative reviews. He's in the construction industry, like they're ripe for
Yeah.
the negative reviews. Um, and he wasn't naive to the fact, he wasn't trying to say like I will never get a negative review, but he said that that should never be a surprise. As a business owner
Mm-hmm.
or as an employee, you should have a pulse on your overall customer experience to know that something went wrong. So if you
Yeah.
don't and you are truly blindsided by negative reviews, I might take a step back and evaluate, like, okay, where are opportunities with our customer life cycle where we can just check in and see how things are going? Because if you can fix the problem, obviously, before it ends in a negative review, you've also rekindled, re-engaged, and kept that customer, which at the end of the day is what you want as a business.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that find ways to communicate, ask for feedback, and get that buy-in from the customer, but not be surprised by the experience overall.
Yeah, that's a really great last point that you made. Yeah, just not being surprised by negative reviews, and that means like you actually know what's going on with your customers and your business.
Absolutely.
That's just staying tuned in, right?
Absolutely.
It's just dialing it in. All right. Well, hey, Chelsea, if people want to learn more about you, get in touch, use your services, what's the best way to do all of that?
Yeah, so our social platform of choice is LinkedIn. We're pretty active on that, so definitely friend me or follow our page on LinkedIn. And then our actual website is probably the best way to get in contact. Fill out a contact form, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. It is
Is
rhino
it Rhino?
reviews.com.
All right, I'm putting that into the chat. And if you send over, shoot me that link, Chelsea, afterwards to the study that you mentioned. I'll put
Absolutely.
that into the comments on this. That way, if people are watching this later, catching a replay, anything like that, and they want to go see that, we can provide that information for them.
Sounds great. Yeah, I'll send that right over. It's a really good one. There's a lot of great little buzz
Okay.
facts in there.
Yeah, I'm interested to read it. All right, CCRR, thank you for your time today. That was Chelsea Craig.
I loved it. I loved
If you missed it at the beginning.
Yeah, you got to go back and watch the beginning if you're confused by that.
Ooh, yeah. I really appreciate your time today. I learned a lot. I'm grateful for the knowledge that you shared today. I hope this helps some other people, and we'll stay in touch. Thank you for your time. Thanks everyone for tuning in. If you caught this today, if you've got review questions for Chelsea, go reach out to her. She's a wealth of knowledge on this particular topic.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Until next time, we'll see you folks.
Bye
Bye.
bye.